Hey Anna,
Hey, Mike.
so we've just finished Billy's first 60 days of Antinol, and wow, what a difference.
Really? Oh my gosh, what have you noticed?
Well, he's shiner, he's much more energetic. Not that he wasn't beforehand, but you can see the difference. But remember, I told you he used to have that little limp in his back left paw that he'd hurt himself when he was a pup. He
Yes,
doesn't seem
yes.
to do that much anymore.
What, the hop, skip, and the jump?
Yeah, yeah. So it's like his joints are a bit better. And we actually had friends around this weekend who'd noticed that there was something good about Billy. And I was telling them about Antinol, and they said, "Oh, what's in it?" I said, "Well, green lip mussel." And they said, "What's that?" And I go, "Oh, well, I don't know. I'll have to ask Anna," as I always do. So
Well,
for next
green,
time, what should I say? What's so great
well,
about green lip mussel?
green lip mussel, it comes from New Zealand. It's the only place that green lip mussels live. And what's great about the green lip mussel is that it is what's known as a broad spectrum source of omega 3. And the reason dogs need to take omega 3 is that their bodies don't make it themselves. So, unless they're getting it through, their diet, which can be omega 6 heavy. And it's very important to have a balance between omega 6 and omega 3. So it's normally through supplements that omega 3 is given. And green lip mussel is unique in its having everything from EPA, DHA, and ETA. So all the main omega 3s.
And how about Binks and Prudence? They must be much better as well.
Yeah, well, they've been on it for over a year and they've been on green lip mussel forever since I've had them. So Prue's 10 now. So she's had green lip mussel since the first day I brought her home, to be honest, but not Antinol. And I only wish I'd discovered Antinol earlier. I really honestly mean that because it's an oil rather than a powder. So its bioavailability, that means, its effectivity to get absorbed quickly and efficiently by the body is greater.
So people listening now and they want to discover Antinol for themselves, where do they go?
Well, all you have to do is go to Antinol, ANTINOL.co.uk, and then type in Anna Webb and get your special discount. Hello, I'm Anna Webb, and welcome to this week's episode of A Dog's Life. I'm chatting to cinema journalist Toby Rose all about this year's Cannes Film Festival and the role that dogs have played in it as part of the Palm Dog. And this episode is powered by Antinol and fueled by Naturaw. Amazing cinema journalist Toby Rose, welcome to A Dog's Life.
Good afternoon. Lovely to speak to you, Anna. Lovely as always.
Oh, Toby, you've just come back from the Cannes Film Festival.
That is indeed true. And I have to say, coming back from the Cannes Film Festival of exhaustions and heat and walking endlessly up and down the Croisette to a London pressure cooker has not given me a chance to acclimatise to anything approaching normal. But luckily, along the way, there are dogs. So
Thank God for dogs. I agree on that one. There must have been some exciting news coming out of Cannes, and I agree with you on the pressure cooker today in London. It's bizarre.
Well, I'd say so. But then again, I mean, if a bit of hot weather for 3 days is going to just destabilize us all, then we're not made of stern enough stuff. And I think we'll be back to normal before you can say woof woof bow wow.
Yes, I know, and then it'll be winter. No, I've loved the last few days, absolutely thrived. But the problem is, it has just been a bit extra muggy today, so the dogs haven't liked it. That's for sure.
No, with their thick coats, or even the ones with the smooth head, clearly they suffer quite a lot when it gets really hot.
Oh, totally. Well, dog's body temperature is 2 degrees hotter than ours, you see, because whether, you've got a big shaggy coat or even a hairless coat, the Mexican hairless is still hotter than us, even though, by nature of the name, they don't actually have any hair at all.
It's a day that we must spare a thought for Peggy, the Chinese crested that was in Deadpool and Wolverine, based on what you've just said, because you look at Peggy and she's all just bald and crested, but she's still obviously overheating.
Oh, she will be. And she's got a flat face, so her breathing is potentially limited by small nostrils, you see. So I haven't taken my dogs for a walk today. We've just been playing in the garden a bit, but even it's too hot for that at the moment. You've got to err on the side of caution, that's for sure.
Correct.
But Toby, going back to Cannes, I'm always so jealous that you go. And one of these years, I want to join you out there, because I know at Cannes you do highlight all the films that have a dog in them to enhance the plot or even be the plot or, whatever. Am I right?
Completely correct. And there are always some goody old dogs on standby that come rushing to the screen, and it unfolds in a very exciting way, because of course there will be dogs in the films, but the way it's programmed is a lottery. It's like a casino of canines. When will the next winning dog turn spin of the roulette wheel be? But we had some really excellent ones this year.
What were the highlights, and are these the films that actually scooped big awards at Cannes, or are they just films that were entered into Cannes, or both?
Well, the good news is that the good dog films did well. And I could break this down into a few categories, but let's just say that one of the things I wanted to point out, even before we saw any of the films, was that the jury walked on to the red carpet at Cannes, and I just went, that's a very palm dog friendly jury, because I will explain. On that jury was first and foremost Paul Laverty, who is the person that writes Ken Loach's more recent films. They've collaborated for quite a number of years. And Paul was on the jury, and specifically, we gave Ken Loach a Palm Dog Humanitarian Award the year he was in Cannes with I, Daniel Blake. And the reason we did that was because Ken Loach, I discovered all too late, though I found one other person this year that already knew this fact. But since 1993, Ken Loach has had a three-legged dog in all of his films to represent the underdog. And that to me is so incredible, significant, and moving, and massively dog friendly. So that was Paul, which was great. And I met Paul for the UK premiere of I, Daniel Blake, in the city in which it was filmed, which is Newcastle. And the dog called Shay, that was the three-legged dog. Can you believe it? So Paul Laverty being on the red carpet was great.
Yes, yes.
And then just very quickly, because I mustn't talk too long, but very quickly, the other person that really just was an immediate, oh my goodness, couldn't be more palm dog, was Demi Moore, who 2 years ago won the Palm Dog Humanitarian Award because of her championing of dog friendliness and dog access, and her habit of going every which way with her lovely dog Pilaf, which was nice. And then just finally, to finish on this, unbelievably and spookily and beautifully, Stellan Skarsgård, the extremely talented and respected Swedish actor, was on the jury as well. And I remember, I think we're going to age everybody here now when I say 20 years ago, I'd say roundabout, he met Muttley, who was the inspiration for the Palm Dog Awards. He was my dog at the time, a lovely little fox terrier. And I always remember Stellan taking a photograph with Muttley on the stairs of the Grand Hotel in Dinar. There we
Oh,
have it.
oh
So
my
that
gosh.
was the start of Palm Dog 2026.
And, you've been championing all of these awards every year, not only Palm Dog, but also there's the FIDOS, which is staged in London at the BFI in February, isn't it? Taking, the message of dogs in film, the doggy Oscars, people call them, the doggy BAFTAs, and it's just so brilliant. It's beyond inspired. I mean, I've loved I've been to pretty much all of them, haven't I? Not the Palm Dog, but the FIDOS. And I just think it's pure genius, Toby, and it's so well supported, the doggy Oscars.
Well, I have to say that FIDO Awards on March 1st this year was our best ever. And I know you have a side that it has major on dogs, but there is, for all those listening to your podcast, a night clubbing out groovy on the circuit scene of years past, Anna Webb, and therefore this year I must draw attention to the fact that dog-friendly dog owner Holly Johnson of Frankie Goes to Hollywood came along and presented a prize
He
to a
did.
film called Pillion, and it was absolutely historic, is the only word I can use. Nobody expected to see him there, and it was a bit of a very good surprise, I think, for most people.
Well, it just shows that, the whole awards is just built and built and built. And the year before, I was extremely I didn't have anything physically to do with this, but Mr. Binks was in the clip that was on, national ITV news of the FIDOs. Do you remember? I mean, that was just the best thing ever. And I think it just, really highlights, exactly this. The dogs are on the set. The dogs are trained to exceptional levels. A lot of effort goes in. The dogs make the particular movie or the moment, the Mupp moment, really memorable. I mean, so many people remember Mupp moments, don't they? And that is indeed a category. I think it's just brilliant, Toby. And,
well, we do like to think that highlighting the dogs in the films is a worthwhile enterprise, and it seems that it hits the spot with people that make the films, because they like to say, well, look, everyone deserves some recognition, and the everyone's include the dogs.
Absolutely. And then there's been some landmark moments, haven't there? Like Uggie in The Artist, that was a massive blockbuster, and no one can deny that Uggie was the main part of the film. Absolutely brilliant, superb dog training. And then of course there was Brandy in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Smurf from the Sightseers. There've been some really big roles.
And in more recent times, I think it's worth mentioning Messi, who was in Anatomy of a Fall.
Oh, yes, gosh, yeah.
Messi ended up winning the Palm Dog. I will point this out to the whole of your listenership to say I had the honour of taking Messi on stage at the French national premiere of the film, which was so thrilling to me. And we were on stage and it was really wonderful. And then, of course, as you probably remember, Messi ended up going to the Oscars.
Yes.
And was given his own seat.
I know. And that's when, the FIDOs got mentioned in the press, because it always happens just a night, or is it a week before the actual Oscars?
Exactly. It's BAFTAs, FIDOs, Oscars. And we all know which is the most important.
Of course. But it really created a buzz that there was a doggy Oscars this year because of Messi going to the actual Oscars and having actually won a doggy Oscar herself. So that was a moment, definitely. And it's those moments that build, and you kind of can't better them in a way. It's just about keeping it up.
Well, you've got to keep flying the flag. You can't just wrench the flag and rush to the front. You have to keep it aloft as the campaign continues.
Yes, and this year the main news, really, as I understand it, is that a lot of females scooped the awards this year.
At Cannes, we ended up, and it was interesting, this point, it happened organically. We didn't say this year we've got to set out to be more inclusive, etc., etc. That was not on the agenda. But what was on the screen was were some dog performances that were really amazing. And I have to be honest, I would say not since The Artist has a film just started at the beginning his favourite and never looked back. That film was La Perra, which is a Spanish language film from Chile, and it starred this dog called Yuri. And as I've said, it was from puppyhood to motherhood to adulthood, and it just went through everything, and it was an amazing journey. And the most, it starts, if it could get any better, with the lady that is the protagonist of the human variety, the owner of Yuri. She found this little dog at a market, at a sort of fisherman's market at the beginning, where the puppies were just scattered around like just so many little pups to grab and adopt. And she just took little Yuri, and from then the journey of the film could begin. And they bonded so quickly, and it was so incredibly impressive.
Wow, wow. Well, that's really amazing. I mean, I love that. What a super story, you know. So how old is Yuri now?
Now, I would have to confess not knowing his age, but I will add something which will resonate with everybody. One of the aspects of the story is this lady lived with her partner, and they had what can be described as a tumultuous relationship, hence more bonding with Yuri. That was significant. But what did happen, not just once, but I think on 2 or 3 occasions, is that Yuri ran off, and her frantic searchings, high and low, far and wide, those moments were so resonant for people that have got dogs. Every time I so vividly remember being on holiday and being phoned by my partner at the time to say, we can't find Muttley. And it was such a feeling. I remember it vividly all those years ago. And the thought of that happening in the film, being portrayed in the film, I think would resonate with a lot of people.
I've joined the Rawvolution at Naturaw because I know that not all raw food is created equal. I'm passionate about feeding dogs as nature intended. After all, you are what you eat, and so is your dog. At Naturaw, there are no compromises, no confusion, just real raw food made with integrity and a conscience, offering 100% transparency, supporting British farmers, and only using the highest welfare assured ingredients is so important. They're a certified B Corp and reduce their carbon footprint by utilizing solar power and planting trees. They only use completely plastic-free packaging that's home compostable. Prudence and Mr. Binks are simply loving their nutrient-dense and balanced recipes. So try Naturaw today. Just go to naturaw.co.uk and grab 20% off your first purchase with my code AnnaWeb20. Join the Rawvolution and feed exceptional raw food. La Perra that means the dog, doesn't it?
Well, I will now unleash the actual direct translation is the bitch.
Oh.
And so that is what that name means in a direct translation. It's called in French, it's already been sold into the French territory for release, La Chienne.
How is
I
it?
don't know what they'll do in England, but maybe you can be advisor on it, Anna.
um, how funny. Gosh, okay. Well, that's all very appropriate with this female theme going on.
Well, going back to the female theme, of course, Yuri, the dog, well, was a female dog, a bitch, and so obviously the film's called The Bitch. The dog is a bitch that's playing the bitch, and the director is a woman. So that was something that set the tone.
Absolutely.
And as if that couldn't be enough, as night follows day and poetry follows motion. I made that up. I don't know what it means. But our grand jury prize was won by the lovely, the human part of the win went to the director of I Like Buildings Fall Like Lightning, an unusual title for a very gritty film of present day, younger, gritty reality in Birmingham. And in and amongst the mix, one of the more vulnerable characters has a rescue dog called Lola. And this was the most incredible dog. And as you've guessed from the name, Lola is a young lady. And Lola was the absolute service dog, rescue dog. The service dog that rescued her adopted owner. And it was a beautiful film. And Claire Bernard, just a small add to this, came to the ceremony to pick up the award. I was lucky enough to meet the actors, but they were not there on the day because it was at the end of the festival. But what was interesting at the ceremony is that when we handed over the prize, we ended the day to celebrate Lola and the fact that the winning film was Spanish language from South America by singing the only song that represented both a Latino film and the name Lola, which is Copacabana. So it was not only did we have the only time we've had female directors and female winning four-legged, but we had the two directors on stage with us with a sing-along of Copacabana, which I think made Cannes history.
Gosh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And Lola is a border terrier, isn't she? I think
she's a border terrier cross, yes.
Right.
But what we had as well from that was an acceptance from lovely Lola with a sort of subtitle bit of barking. But what we discovered from her handler Alan was that she had been the property of a homeless man and was literally rescued from the streets alongside this homeless man. And to me, that made it all the more poignant that, she was a rescue who had been with a homeless man on the streets, and then she ended up in this film, and the film was very well received, and it was just great.
Oh,
it was a really beautiful story.
Well, that is total rags to riches, isn't it, really? And and you also obviously you always have a humanitarian award, which we touched on briefly earlier just now, but that's gone again to help dogs in rescue or, promoting adopting rather than shopping.
Exactly. It says adopt, don't shop is the campaign. And it was Brad Gorski, who is, going back to what we talked about earlier, was Demi Moore, and he is Demi Moore's stylist. Oh. So all her wonderful looks on the red carpet were thanks to the taste and imagination of Brad Gorski. And she really put a show on. Was absolutely wonderful, I have to say.
And does she have a dog?
Demi Moore has a dog called Pilaf, who is a Chihuahua and has been seen at many an event with lovely Demi, and I believe was in Cannes. But to the point, which is the elephant in the room, the dog wasn't on the red carpet.
Wasn't, or was?
No, so it gets to a certain point, and then you hit the glass ceiling.
I understand that, but yes. But I mean, there's never too many times to go on a red carpet, surely, with your dog.
I believe that Demi should have said, it's either me and the dog or I'm not walking. But I
Yes.
believe she didn't.
Well, there we go. She's got to keep up appearances, I guess, but
Well, she was on the jury, the official jury, so she certainly had to toe the line. But what I
yes.
thought was remarkable, knowing how hot it was in Cannes, was the thought that she'd seen 2 films a day and turned out looking immaculate and like the screen goddess she is, nightly on the red carpet. And having been working in Cannes this year, I really took my hat off to her for the physical exertion that represented.
No, I mean it's exhausting, really. So it's 2 sort of 3-hour films that drain you. So brilliant movies, and you've got to really watch them. And you do sometimes come out so sort of emotionally, fulfilled and drained sometimes from a movie, and then to literally go and see another one of a similar intensity, and you've got to pay attention. That's exhausting, I think. And then to go out, that's doing well.
No, it's definitely not a walk in the park. Going up a red carpet after all the film watching of the day, and then coming in, because she doesn't stay in Cannes. She's at a big hotel that is 20 minutes down the road. So, there's what you can call a commute. I'm sure people that you're listening to your podcast that are in a tube train will say, call that a commute. But nonetheless, it still represents a lot of effort.
Yeah, of course. I mean, absolutely. From Saint-Tropez to Cannes, it's it's not that far, for example. But no,
Yes.
no, it's brilliant. Oh, it's brilliant. I'm just so jealous.
And I just wanted to mention one other thing. We've talked about the winning films, The Palm Dog, the Grand Jury Prize to Clio Bernard and Lola, with, of course, The Palm Dog being Yuri and Dominga Sotomayor, who was the director. And we've obviously also mentioned the wonderful Brad Gorski, who got Palm Dog Humanitarian. But day 2 of the festival, Anna, I want you to hold on to your microphone when I tell you this.
Go on.
There was a special out of competition screening of a film called The Duchess, which saw entering the red carpet area a lady who goes by the name of Dame Joan Collins. And the film The Duchess is about the Duchess of Windsor, in which she stars alongside not 1, but 3 pugs.
Oh.
So all I can say is absolutely dog-tastic, Joan-tastic, red carpet-tastic. So it was very exciting for me when I saw that.
Gosh, that sounds amazing. I really fancy watching that. I mean, when will these movies, get out, and when will we all be able to see them?
Well, I know that La Pera and the Clio Bernard, that Clio Bernard film, I Like Buildings, that will be a Curzon release later this year. I believe La Pera is yet to find a distributor, as is the case at the time of speaking for The Duchess. But I think Joan Collins and 3 pugs, co-starring with them Isabella Rossellini, is something that will find a taker, and we'll be able to see it. I'd love to go and see that, I have to say.
I know it sounds absolutely right up my street as well. Maybe we could go together. It sounds fun, definitely. But
I agree.
All in all, then, a good celebration for Canines at Cannes.
Totally brilliant. Loved it all. And Cannes was more dog-tastic than ever. And this year, as we have been discussing, it was a girl power moment of the most affirmative sort. And we were very, very happy to see girl power triumph at Palm Dog 2026.
All I can say to that, Toby, is hurrah and woof, woof.
Woo! Bark, bark. That's more like a crow.
That's our show, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go on, rate and review the show wherever you tune into your podcasts. Thanks, of course, to Toby Rose for joining us today, and all the links are in the show notes. Thanks, of course, to Mike, my producer, for all the music and production as ever. And if you want to find out more about Antinol and Naturaw, I urge you to go to my website, to the recommends page, where you have lots more information, including your discount codes to redeem my special discount. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because it's free, and that way you'll never miss another show. See you next week. Bye for now.